Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Matt Shannon, and in today's episode we're going to be talking about firework photography. Now I'm Canadian, and on July 1st I went out and celebrated Canada Day. I grabbed all of my camera gear, arrived early, I listened to some music, and in this particular setting the fireworks display was going to be shooting off from a floating barge out in the ocean off the town there. So I'm going to walk you through my setup as well as my camera settings on getting the perfect fireworks shots or multiple shots during the whole display. If you're new to this channel, my name is Matt Shannon and I'm a full-time photographer in beautiful British Columbia. From soaring mountains to hidden waterfalls and elusive wildlife to stunning sunsets, I'm excited to film each step of the way. Whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or simply enjoy some stunning visuals, you've come to the right place. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Fireworks is in about an hour or so. Say you gotta be there early, find a good spot so you can get good photos. I don't really want to go out actually. I'm trying to build up some excitement, some firework excitement. So right here is where that barge is, where all the fireworks are going to be taken off from. It's pretty cool, their little setup that they have here. And across the way is the pier, where I thought about photographing from or putting it in the foreground. But over on the pier side, you can see the barge way off in the water here. And there's people everywhere and I don't want them in the foreground. There's another photographer here and that's where he's photographing from. So the best spot was actually right here in the middle of this little bay where the beach is down below. I'm up high. I found this really cool little spot. As long as this chain didn't hit my camera, I was safe, and it was just the perfect view. It has begun. Now, during the summertime, it can be a bit tricky just because we're so close to the summer solstice. So the beginning of the fireworks display, it's a little bit lighter out at twilight. And then near the end, it's almost pitch black. And then you have still the city and town lights to deal with. Alright, so when I'm in the field and I'm getting ready to take pictures of fireworks, I want to set my shutter speed to bulb. So I'll slow it way down past 30 seconds until I hit bulb on my camera. And what that allows me to do is if I'm pushing down the shutter button or on a cable release or a remote, as long as I'm holding down that button to open the shutter, it'll gather light. And I'll explain a little bit more as to why I have that set up there. So I set it to bulb, and then I go right to just F11 as a starting point. Sometimes I move it down to F8 to let in a little bit more light. But bulb mode, F11, and then ISO like 200 or 100. I want to keep my ISO as low as possible to get the most detail. And a lot of people think, well, it's nighttime. You're going to need a lot more light because it's dark out. But the funny thing is that fireworks are very bright and we're exposing the fireworks. So I'll set up some shots slowing the shutter speed down to say 25 seconds, 20 seconds. And I'll take my photos of the foreground, the ocean, the beach there with all the people. And I'll play around with some of the shots there to get a nice exposed foreground and landscape area. But when the fireworks actually start kind of popping off and exploding, my ISO can be quite low, and my f-stop, it can be quite small, so a higher number f-stop to let in less light because fireworks are very bright. Now with bulb mode, this allows me to either hold down and open that shutter for longer pops of fireworks in one single image, or I can release and take a look in the back of my screen to see what sort of collection of fireworks I've gotten. And you can kind of get used to it. I mean, most fireworks shows are, 20 minutes or so, and so the first couple of shots you can take a look at your work on the back of your image. If you have peak exposure with those kind of zebra lines or a highlighter on the back display of your camera, where you can kind of indicate that you're maybe blowing out some of the highlights in the fireworks display, you can kind of work on the fly and either close down your aperture a little bit more or open it up and kind of feel it out in the field. So hopefully that makes sense, where the bulb mode allows me full control to keep the shutter open for maybe 10 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. And really, you'll just get these bursts of light. It's kind of like lightning, and you can apply the same rules to a dark night sky, where you can open the shutter nice and long with a small aperture and a really low ISO. And if you were to just take a picture, close the shutter, kind of would be a dark screen. You wouldn't see a whole lot. But with that bolt of lightning, you're going to pick that all up on the sensor, and you'll be able to close the shutter afterwards. We're doing the exact same thing with fireworks exploding off in the sky. So I've got bulb mode, f8, ISO 100. I've already taken shots the whole beach area. I'm on a tripod. I've got noise reduction turned off. Everything is ready for the show. So let's hope it's a good one. I'm gonna get one shot at this. Now here's a photograph that I took in Tofino during New Year's Eve. And they had the fireworks right on the beach, which was just epic. And I set up all of my same settings, where I went to bulb, f11, and ISO 200, I think, for this one. Now this photo I took during Halloween, and it was done in like a farmer's field. Now there was a lot of like bright moments of fireworks going off, and then kind of like darker fireworks. I think that would have like kind of darker colors, and that's where I would just hold down the open shutter a little longer. So as I'm watching, I'm making decisions on the fly of like how short of a shutter I want to have, and any of those really bright kind of explosions, I would close down the shutter a lot faster. Now all of these shots, I'm using a tripod and a trigger release. So tripod is very important to make sure everything is nice and steady. And once I have all of my photos, I put them into Lightroom. I might do some fine adjustments, but the real magic happens in Photoshop, where I highlight all the shots that I want into one image, and I create a composite. So I move them all over into Photoshop and then work on them individually. There's a lot of changing of twilight into darker nighttime, where I gotta have to balance everything. So I use sort of a base image and then apply all the different bursts of fireworks on top of that. So this is the final image, and there's one other shot that I still need to do a little bit more work on, but since we're creeping up to 4th of July, I wanted to show you this shot where I have my feet kind of in the foreground, and I stitched probably 30 images together to get this full sort of atmosphere, the whole feeling of the crowd, everything watching this epic fireworks. So if you like this content, please give me that thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, maybe think about subscribing. I'm going to try and pump out these videos weekly if possible. And let me know down in the comments if you shoot landscape or wildlife, if you photograph night photography like Milky Way, those sort of things. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.